The fierce loyalty of the local community is definitely a key to success. But sometimes you just have to go and taste it yourself. Like in Philadelphia, where at the intersection of 9th and Passyunk,
Who's next, please?
you can get a great cheesesteak.
Usually it's a ribeye of beef that's sliced either thin or thick, and it's just thrown on the grill and cooked.
We met Holly Moore there. He's a food writer with a website called hollyeats.com, and he knows Philadelphia.
Cheesesteak is Philadelphia. Here they get cheesesteaks. You go to any place else, you get the same sandwich. You get a Philly cheesesteak.
It's a steak sandwich. It's the best steak sandwich within 500 miles.
This is Philadelphia culture. Cheesesteaks, eaten outside in South Philadelphia, that's part of the culture.
I also think that cheesesteaks are a destination kind of food.
Sometimes we make a special road trip and come to eat and then go drive right back.
We're from all around. Every time we're around Atlantic City or Philadelphia, we stop here.
I have 3 steaks sandwiches, and one of them's going back to North Carolina.
I'm from New Orleans, but every time I come to Philadelphia, I come up to Pat's and get a whiz with.
There's really 2 choices when ordering a cheesesteak. First of all is whether you want onions or don't want onions on it.
Cheese with onions. With, W-I-T-H, with, cheese with onions.
And secondly, and more importantly, is whether you want it with cheese or without cheese. And if you go cheese, whether you want cheese whiz or whether you want provolone or American cheese.
So she like hers with whiz, I like mine with American.
I like provolone with onions or a whiz with onions.
No, I mean, cheese whiz is one of those things people turn up their noses to. It's kind of artificial, but for some reason, certain things just go together. Cheese whiz and a Philadelphia cheesesteak.
Cheese whiz, cheese whiz.
No
well, sometimes I get the onion. I like the onion.
Best way to get a steak with cheese with onions.
With onions. See, I get the onions too sometimes, right?
And the 2 big cheesesteak places in South Philly are Geno's and Pat's.
When I was a kid, I used to go to Pat's.
As far as I know, the cheesesteak started at Pat's, and a guy named Pat Oliveri opened up.
I was a young kid. I went to Pat's. Then I started coming to Geno's back in, say, 77.
You can stand right here in the center between Pat's and Geno's and ask people walking by. You'll probably get 50-50.
Geno's is the place.
Pat's is the best.
Behind me is the flashier Geno's, and over here is where the real sandwich is, Pat's.
Pat's King of Steaks is a funky little place, and the day we were there, the line was long.
It's crazy. Craziest place to come.
It's like the atmosphere. Because we take them home and
The birds flying over you, it's nice.
the flies in your and around you, you know. It's just the atmosphere.
It was here since from 1930.
It's been like from our fathers to our grandfathers, everybody just keeps
He
coming.
gets the extra cheese, you can tell from his t-shirt.
Our cheesesteaks are good. Not because I work here, but they're good.
I don't know what they got in there, but it's delicious.
This is Pat's. This is where it all began.
Pat's is more gutsy. It's South Philly. It's where the people who grew up eating Pat's now come to Pat's. And the people who maybe moved into town, the yuppies and all, like Geno's because it's a little more civilized, a little more gentrified.
More space, and that's a hellhole over there.
It's a friendly rivalry, but not that friendly.
Joe Vento's the owner. Back in 1966, he had an idea for a steak shop. So he figured where's the best place to open than across the street from the so-called King. He opened up. They gave him 6 months to last over here. They laughed at him and everything. And he struggled for a while, and he built it into a multi-million-dollar empire.
The sandwiches are very good here.
It's the steaks. They don't chop them. It's just the way they make them. It's unbelievable.
They're the best. They're the best.
It's very good.
The atmosphere, the people, the saute of the onions.
And they win the Spiffy Sparkly Award, too.
We got to rate Geno's #1. And tell Geno he owed me for that.
The most intimidating thing about your first time at a cheesesteak place is how to order.
Yeah, they're afraid if they make a mistake, they get all nervous.
When they come to the window and don't know what they want. Next.
They have signs up there, they say you got to order it this way or that way. You're standing in line.
People from out of town used to come up here and they didn't know how to order and they would hold the line up until which times the guys in line made it real short. You want it with, you want it without.
You got a line around the building.
Do I give the customers a hard time? Sometimes.
They'll come to the window, well, I'll have, and they're there. I mean, you're standing in line all the time, and you get to the window, you don't know what you want. They don't have their money ready.
Can I get a Coke? No, next window. Can I get fries? No, next window. Why? Why can't I get fries? Why can't I get a Coke? Why? Because we're busy over here. Go the other window.
Sometimes they say we're rude, but we're trying to accommodate all these customers out here, and it's really hard when you got one person sitting at the window, don't know what they want.
Then the next person will come. Can I get a Coke and fries and a cheesesteak? No, I just told that person. Go to the next window.
Come right up. Can I help you?
And you got to come out and you got to say whiz with. And you got to say it right. You can't like say, I want a cheesesteak and I want it with fried onions. That's way too much time.
Can't take the South Philly out of me, I'm sorry.
You got to decide for yourself. You go to Pat's first, you go to Geno's first, then you go to the other place.
There's another place down in South Philadelphia on Oregon Avenue called Tony Luke's.
You can go anywhere in Philadelphia and you're going to find a favorite cheesesteak place of the people who live in that part of Philadelphia.
Holly led us to Roxborough.
This place, its real name is D'Alessandro's, but everybody calls it Deli's.
It's a little place. It's almost like you're going to somebody's house and they just basically put a kitchen on the first floor and they serve cheesesteaks.
It's our favorite.
I mean, everyone all over the city knows about this place.
This is what basically everybody gets when they first come here.
I got mine with mushrooms on it and put some of the hot peppers on it and stuff. It was good.
You know, then once you get experience, you know, you mix and match what you want.
I get extra cheese and fried onions, and I put on ketchup and use some hot peppers.
But this is a cheesesteak with sauce, fried onions.
Tim Spence started here in the mid-90s as a feeder.
The actual process is called feeding. Basically what you start with is you have your feeder in the corner. It gives you the chopped up meat. You lay it down, get it on the hot grill. 3 pieces of New Yorker white American cheese on top. You let it melt down. You flip it over onto one of these rolls.
I guess they have their own technique, which is why they're considered the best.
Top it off with fried onions. Top it off with the red sauce.
They don't seem to be as strict about the ordering rituals here.
If you want your steak, then no cheese. You have to specify yourself here. We don't use whiz, though. It's only American or provolone, that's it. Nothing in the can. We also have hoagies, which we sell a pretty good amount of. A lot of people come here for them, too.
A hoagie is another great Philadelphia sandwich.
Other places call it a submarine sandwich, a hero, a Sorrento.
No, Western Pennsylvania says hoagies.
But usually we say, let's go get an Italian sandwich.
New York says hero.
Well, you know, you don't see words like hero or gyro or however they pronounce it, but yeah, I suppose submarine sandwich.
Everybody in the New York area knows what a hero is.
People call them Spuckies.
I mean, in New Orleans, it's a po' boy.
What do you guys call them?
I call it a hero.
I like the term Zeppelin. That just cracks me up.
You want to get the good Italian sandwich, you go to the deli and you get a grinder.
That's what they call them in Connecticut.
They're called heroes, they're called subs. In South Philadelphia, they're called hoagies.
A hoagie, first you start with the right bread.
A good hoagie is made with fine ingredients.
Hoagies are cold, they're cold cuts.
It has to be Italian bread. It has to be big, hearty, crispy, crunchy.
Good bread, good lunch meat, quality olive oil.
It has to be lots of good meat.
And fresh produce.
And some produce on it, lettuce, tomato, and a good sharp provolone cheese.
You can have a hoagie without lettuce and tomato. It's just cold cuts on a roll, basically.
Well, you can get a real South Philly hoagie at Chickie's Italian Deli.
Hot pork, provolone, cherry hots, and horseradish.
Run by Henry George and his wife, Jean. This is one of Holly Moore's favorite spots.
I was just driving by one day, and I've found out in South Philadelphia that a lot of places that don't look like much from the outside, you get inside and you've got some really good Italian cooking.
And I worked in Italian restaurants for 18 years before I opened this store. And I always used to tease my mother and say, you know, someday I'm going to open up a restaurant, name it after you, just because you hate to cook.
And when I walked into Chickie's, it was a really good hoagie.
A lot of people think my mom is Chickie or Henry is Chickie.
How I got the name Chickie, that was my mom's nickname. And I named it after her after she passed away.
It is all about his mom, Chickie, the woman who hated to cook but was good at it.
She's watching over me from upstairs. I know she is. Yeah, she definitely is.
It's a family business. It's a mom and pop store. Just that mom and pop aren't, 70.
What I probably have the most is something called a tuna special because I don't see it anywhere else.
We have imported ham, we have gourmet turkey, we have homemade roast beef. None of our lunch meat is wet and slimy. You get some of those. You got to bring your sandwich out before you can eat it.
Chickie also is famous for their vegetarian hoagies.
But it's not like a vegetarian, it's not like a vegetarian, it's an Italian vegetable hoagie. It's made with baked eggplant, sauteed broccoli rabe, sharp provolone, and roasted peppers. It's the best.
You need to be seen.
It's our #1 sandwich, right?
The best. This is probably the only time I'll actually go anywhere and intentionally order something vegetarian. But it's that good.
You know, I created that veggie hoagie 9 years ago. I think I ate a veggie 8 years ago. I haven't touched it since. Not because it's not good. It's just that I cook it, I prep it, I make them, and I don't even want to look at a veggie anymore. And that's the truth.
My favorite sandwich is the Chickie special. It's like an old-fashioned Italian. It's prosciutto, super side, and the dry cured gabagool with roasted peppers and sharp provolone, and the rest lettuce, tomato, onion.
Would you like mayo or oil or both? We do have a little lingo. Hot peppers, seeded hots, long hots, lettuce, tomato, onion. I asked every question. I want to make it the way you want it.
The only thing we really won't do is cut a hoagie in half and make half different. You'd have to buy 2.
We have good food. We have the best food in the city.
Chickies, how can I help you?
I do love it, but sometimes it gets a little nerve-wracking. I need to take a little break.
People in Philadelphia love to eat. When you wake up, the kids will say, "Ma, what's for dinner?"
That's what Philadelphia is. Everywhere you go, there's a food place. Everywhere. On every corner, on every block, there's food.
Later in that same sandwiches program, Holly suggested that we meet at Red's Eats in Wiscasset, Maine.
I've been coming up to Maine since I was 9 months old. And I've been coming to Red's probably for the last 10 or 15 years.
Today's a bad day. God, we haven't got anybody here.
The minute I open these doors, from 11 o'clock, there's a line of people that goes way past that general store next to us.
Red's is slow today. Usually when I'm here, there's going to be a line of maybe 5 or 10 people ahead of me.
There's always long lines, but it's worth it. And I've always told the new people, don't look at the line.
It's going to take me about 20 minutes to get my lobster roll.
Look at the people ahead of you, because if you look at the line, you'll go crazy.
I'll be lucky if I can find a place to sit down and eat it. So I kind of like a nice gray day like this. It keeps the tourists away.
We have seating in the back there.
There's nothing fancy about it. No waiters or waitresses. You go up, you place your order, the loudspeaker comes on when your order's ready, you go pick it up, you carry it on a tray back, you eat it.
They had it waiting there the whole time.
Got the trains going by, you can watch all the people jealous because you're eating and they're stuck in traffic over the bridge. And
beautiful, right on the river. It's pure Maine.
Lobster traps set out in the river right behind us right now will be some of the lobster you'll be eating.
It's lobster, lobster, and lobster.
Most of them are just pieces of chopped up lobster in a lobster salad.
I just put the meat in a bun. I put the claws on either side.
Red uses the whole, this is more than a whole lobster in this lobster roll. You've got the whole tail.
And fill the middle and put the tails on the top.
And there's no gunk on it. You get to add your own gunk, either the mayonnaise or the butter.
Or both if they want, but there's nothing on the meat.
It's like at least one whole lobster.
And bread.
The roll is important to us as far as putting it together.
It has to be on a Maine-style and New England-style hot dog bun.
You just grill them on the grill, both sides.
So what happens when you eat a lobster roll is that you've got the warm outside and then you've got the nice cold lobster and the sweet lobster on the inside.
What a lot of people like to do is actually take that nice whole tail off the top of the roll.
And if you have the drawn butter, naturally that's melted.
Dip it in butter, and then eat the rest of the roll that way. That's easier to eat.
Why go all the work of like cracking open a lobster and all that hard work when all you need to do is have them do the work for you and just kind of eat away. You can get it down much faster, it's much more efficient, and it's easier to eat a second one.